Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's topic is going to be a bit emotional because I'm going to touch base on some trauma that I experienced at a very young age. And today's topic is the one time I was diagnosed with cancer. So getting into this video, it's very traumatizing and emotional for me because I've never actually talked about it in full detail to anyone really. Maybe a few people, but not too many people know that I've been through this. So taking it back to my childhood days, I was a very passionate basketball player. I worked on perfecting my skills and my craft almost every day. I played on different teams at one time. I was traveling to tournaments every single weekend. I would train with my dad every single day. And it got me to the point to where I was a really good basketball player. And then one day it kind of just got taken from me overnight because of a random sickness that just came into the picture. So I was 13 years old. I was in the 7th grade, I believe, maybe the 8th grade. I honestly don't even remember. But I started to experience pain in my neck, and I developed a lump on the side of my neck, like the size of a golf ball. And I would go see doctors, but they didn't see anything wrong with it. They couldn't tell me what was wrong. And then it got to the point to where I was experiencing fevers every single night. Like every night, 101, 102 fever. I couldn't sleep, I was sick, I couldn't really go to school. So my parents were taking me to doctors left and right, but the doctors, oh, she'll get past this, oh, we don't think it's anything. And it was just crazy. Like, the doctors couldn't tell me what was wrong with me. It was very frustrating. So one night after I went to a doctor, they continuously did multiple blood tests and all types of different tests on me. Still nothing will come back on the test that was wrong with me. So one night my parents received a call from a doctor I was seeing, and he calls and says, "You need to rush Imani into the hospital because we think she has cancer." And I had no idea what was going on. I was 13 years old. But I can't imagine the pain and the emotion that my parents felt getting a call from a doctor late at night telling them this information about their daughter. So next thing you know, we're driving up to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles because that was where they were going to take care of me. And that's where they figured out what the problem was. So I get there, and mind you, I'm probably like 5'7" at the time, maybe 110, 115 pounds. And at this time, I had no appetite. I couldn't eat. I was just very sick. So by the time I went to the hospital and they admitted me into the hospital, I was probably about 90 pounds. And I've never been so small in my life. Like, I'm a skinny girl, but to be 90 pounds at 5'7", like, you know there's something going on. So I'm in the hospital, and maybe halfway through, they're still doing multiple tests on me. They did a biopsy on my neck. I don't know if you guys could see. There's a mark from where they did the incision. And they took a biopsy sample of the lymph node that was inflamed in my neck. And it came back, and they're just like, okay, we think it's lymphoma cancer. So at that point, they're already starting to insert a PICC line into my arm, prep me for chemo, and just get me ready for the whole situation. And they're just like, well, before we start chemo, we're gonna send in your sample to the specialist of, it's like an autoimmune disease specialist division at USC Hospital. So they send the sample over and we're waiting for results still, but in my head, I'm just like, okay, I have lymphoma. I need to figure out how to get through this. But the confusing part was the doctors couldn't figure out which lymphoma I had, what kind I had. Was it Hodgkin's or non-Hodgkin's? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I hope I am. But anyways, they were just confused. They're just like, you have lymphoma, but we don't know which kind it is. So that was just another confusion. I'm just like, that's great. Like, now we can't figure out what kind it is. So everyone's waiting for the last test result to come back, trying to figure out which lymphoma that I have. And it was my mom's birthday. So me and my brothers and sisters went down to the gift shop and we picked out this crazy looking hat. It was like a cake hat and it had candles on the top and it says happy birthday. And we got a card for her and we all signed it. And the one part that stuck out to me the most that I still remember is that my brother, Reggie, wrote in the card, he wrote a message, but at the end it said, and she will be healed. And he's probably like 10 or 11 at the time. He's younger than me. So that part really stuck out to me and my mom, because my mom is a minister. She's into ministry, she's into God, she's praying all the time. Her and God are best friends. So she got the card, she got the hat, she was happy with it, but of course, I mean, I'm still in the hospital, so things aren't completely normal. And she reads the card and sees all the messages, and shortly after, the doctors come in and they're just like, okay, we just heard back from USC. Imani does not have cancer. And at this time, it was just so surreal. Like, everyone started to praise God, everyone started to laugh and smile and cry because I'm in the hospital bed and I have a pick for chemo in my arm, ready for it at any moment. And thank God for those doctors. They sent in the sample one last time to one last hospital, and I didn't have cancer. And I can't imagine the emotions that I was feeling at the time. But the crazy part is I literally felt no emotion throughout this whole experience. Even when they told me I had cancer, it was like, do I have cancer? Like, I don't know. I just felt like I was like shielded from God. Like I was just in his arms the whole time, being held by him, because none of this really affected me. And it's just like crazy now that I look back at it, just looking at how I dealt with it. Like, it was definitely God, because I don't know how else I would have got through it. And this is just my message to you guys, that God can get you through anything. I almost had cancer, and look where I'm at now. It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, none. And just going back on it, I did have an autoimmune disease that was very, very rare. And it's like women 40 to 60 who are Asian and white get this disease. I'm 13 years old and I'm African American. How? It doesn't make any sense at all. So everyone was just so confused on how I got it. And I had to be treated. I took loads and loads of Plaquenil and prednisone For people who don't know what prednisone is, it's a steroid that they use to suppress the immune system. So I had all the effects from taking it. I was gaining weight. My cheeks were like chipmunk cheeks. Like kids would tease me at school because my cheeks were just so big. And it was because of the steroids that I was taking. I went back to school, but my parents had to constantly drive me to checkups for about a year and a half straight to the Children's Hospital of LA because that's where they were treating me. So my parents, I'm just so thankful and blessed to have them in my life because they fought for me and they took me to every single appointment that I needed to go to. And without them, especially my mom and her praying and all that she's done, I wouldn't be here today in this position that I'm in right now. So after all this happened, I went back to playing basketball. I was going into high school. I made varsity as a freshman. And that's where I'm gonna end the story for today. For those who don't believe in God, God is real. He can provide a miracle for you within seconds. Like, you have no idea how fast he can deliver. And if you just have a little bit of faith in him and what he can do, he could get you through anything. And lastly, I wanted to make this video first, even though it's very, very hard for me to talk about, because I saw this movie on Netflix called Miracles from Heaven. And I highly recommend it for anyone because that was just like, it reminded me so much of what I went through. This little girl was sick, and you guys just have to watch the movie. Like, it's kind of like a preview into what I went through at a very, very young age. And that's what inspired me to make this video, and I was really, really dreading it. But I think that was a sign from God that you need to make the video, you need to talk about it, and you need to release the trauma, like stop holding it in. So I'm just so thankful for God for showing me that movie and for me watching it, because I wouldn't have the strength to make this video right now and just be so vulnerable and open to you guys. So I hope this reaches the people that it needs to reach. And if you guys have any questions or anything, just write me in the comments and I'll make sure to check them. But yeah, tune in for part 2. So my next video would just be the next step, the next chapter in my story. So thanks for tuning in to watch today's video. I really, really do appreciate it. Please like it, share it, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you guys back next time.